Hi everybody! We're going to try a new concept today using the distributive property to solve equations. This will be something you'll need to know for next year for algebra. Here we go. Here are some simple equations using the distributive property. This is the expression that we'll be taking the 3 times the x plus 2. You're going to take 3 times every number that's inside of the parentheses. That's what the distributive property does. So you're going to take 3 times x, that gives you 3x. You're going to take 3 times 2, and that gives you 6. Now that's just a simple example. Here's another simple example of how to use the distributive property. You're going to take 4 times 5, which is 20. Now this time we have 4 times negative x, which will give you a negative 4x. Okay, our next example, we have a negative 2 on the outside of the parentheses. You're going to take negative 2 times x, which will give you negative 2x, and then negative 2 times 4, which will give you negative 8. Our last example of how to use this in an easy way, you have negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x, negative 3 times negative 5, which gives us a positive 15 because a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, now let's see how we can use that to solve for x in equations. Here's our first example. Our equation is 3 times, in parentheses, x minus 6 equals 15. We're going to take first step, we're going to take that 3 times everything in the parentheses. So that will give us 3x. 3 times negative 6 gives you negative 18. And then you simply bring down the 15 on that right-hand side of the equal sign. Now look at this. This is just our normal solving a two-step equation. So our next step is add 18 to both sides. That gives us 3x equals 33. Next step, divide by 3. And so our final answer is 11. Now if you wanted to check to make sure 11 was the correct answer, you can take 11 and substitute it in here for x in our original equation. Well, if I put 11 in here, 11 minus 6 is 5. And 5 times 3 is 15, which is what it needs to equal for that 11 to work in this equation. All right, let's try another one. Okay, this time we have 4 times, in parentheses, x plus 3 equals negative 8. So again, you're going to take the 4 times everything in the parentheses. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is 12. Just bring down the negative 8 from the original equation. Now we have just our normal solving of a two-step equation. Take away 12 from both sides. Now this is a little tricky. Negative 8 minus 12 will give you negative 20. 4x is the only thing left now on the left-hand side. Divide both sides by positive 4, and our answer is negative 5. Now again, if you would like to take the negative 5 and put it in here to see if it's the correct answer, you can do that. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. And negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, which is what we would need to have to make this equation true. I would ask at this point, how are you doing? But I can't see you, so I don't know. So let's go to the next example. All right, now the only thing different here is this time we have a negative 2 on the outside of your equation. So you're going to take a negative 2 times each term inside of the parentheses. Negative 2 times x would be negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Now again, this is just our normal two-step equation. Take away 16 from both sides. That leaves negative 2x on the left-hand side. 10 minus 16 is negative 6 here. Divide both sides by negative 2. When you divide a negative by a negative, remember you get a positive, so our answer is positive 3. Okay, now let's try some on your own. Would you please take out a piece of notebook paper, pause the video, and work this problem out showing each step. So your first step will be multiplying that 4 through the parentheses. All right, now let's check your work. Your second step, or actually your first step after the original equation, is 4x plus 20. After you take that 4 through the parentheses, you have 4x plus 20. That equals 24. Take away 20 from both sides. Divide both sides by 4. And did you get 1 for your answer? High five to you if you did. If you put 1 back in here, you can see that's the answer. 1 plus 5 is 6. And 6 times 4 is indeed 24. Okay, let's try another one. Now write this on notebook paper and solve for x. Please notice there's a negative 2 in front of that parentheses this time. So take a negative 2 times each term in the parentheses. All right, let's see how you did. Take negative 2 times 2x and you get negative 4x. Take negative 2 times positive 3 and get negative 6. Our next step is add 6 to both sides. That leaves you with negative 4x. Don't forget to bring that negative down with that 4x. Equals 16. Divide both sides by negative 4 and your answer is negative 4. I bet you got that. Okay, let's try another one. Now this is a little bit different because look, you have x's on both sides and you're going to have to do the distributive property on both sides before you begin to solve for x. Go ahead and write that one on notebook paper and pause the video and try that. Okay, so first thing you should have done is take 8 times x plus 1. That gives you 8x plus 8. Then 2 times x minus 3, which is 2x minus 6. Now this time, our first step is going to be to get rid of the x's on one side. So we're going to take away 2x, the smaller x, from both sides. That leaves us with 6x plus 8 equals negative 6. Then we're going to take away 8 from both sides. You have 6x equals negative 14. Then divide both sides by 6. Now your answer turns out to be negative 7/3. In algebra, typically you leave your answer in terms of an improper fraction rather than changing that to a mixed number. How'd you do? I hope you did okay. Let's try one more. Pause the video and write that down. Notice you have a negative 3 on this side. Perform that distributive property on both sides before you start solving for x. Okay, take negative 3 times that first set of parentheses. You have negative 3x plus 6 because that's negative 3 times negative 2. Then you have 10x on this side minus 15. Our smaller x is negative 3x. Did you add 3x to both sides? That is the opposite of negative 3x. That leaves you with 6 equals 13x minus 15. Add 15 to both sides. Divide by 13 and your final answer is the improper fraction 21/13. Hey, you guys are doing real algebra. You should be so proud of yourselves. I love it. It is so fun. You did great today. Thank you for working so hard and sticking with me through this distance learning. You guys truly are amazing. Bye.